the people that are doing that are OPEC and the oil companies. They are trying to drive up the raw material price of what it takes to make their competing fuel, alcohol. And so we're looking at a pretty huge conspiracy in commodity trading, which is just now getting investigated. It'll take years before they get to the bottom of it because there's no control over oil companies buying corn at high prices and keeping it away from the alcohol plants. So we're like dealing with huge forces of manipulation going on. And the only way that we can stop this, and we can, is to go ahead and start making fuel ourselves as businesses, as individuals, as municipalities that are getting hit by the high oil prices. And the good news is we can do this, and it's being done around the world. The United States is actually running behind places like India or Brazil or even Sweden that are going to biofuels in a big way, saving money, not having huge foreign debts because they're not paying for oil. And we can be doing the same thing here.
David, riddle me this, okay? Because here in the United States, we call ourselves a free nation and say that we can do all these things, but we actually need permission and a permit to go out and catch a fish in a lake. What makes you think that our government is going to let us build distilleries in our backyards? Are we going to need a license for that? Can we even do this? Because a lot of times that's what the problem is. You get a great idea.
You'll love this. We beat this. We won this battle back in the 1980s where you couldn't even actually make beer or wine in any quantity, and brew pubs weren't even a dream yet in the 80s when I got involved in alcohol. So, what I did back in the 80s is I took a look at the huge reams of regulations of the revenuers, the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms, which prohibited anybody from distilling alcohol for anything. And I found, just like you always find, the little experimental permit that corporations always have tucked somewhere in the background so they don't have to fill out all the paperwork when they want to try something new. So what we did was I built a still, and I started waving my hands to the revenuers saying, look at me, I'm distilling alcohol. And they took me away in handcuffs, and they arrested me.
Interesting.
But that was
David,
great.
We're running up on the break. We'll be right back. We are talking to David Blume, author of Alcohol Can Be a Gas. You are listening to the Animal Farm. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Welcome back, folks. AnimalFarmShow.com is the website. So glad you can join us on this lovely evening. We're speaking with David Blume. His book is Alcohol Can Be a Gas, and his website is permaculture.com, P-E-R-M-A, culture.com. David, last segment here with you. First of all, thanks again for coming on the line. I have a final question. I'm not sure.
Thanks for coming.
Yes. That's George's question. Here's a question I have, David. I mean, obviously the crisis that we're in now is getting worse, it seems, every day, every week. Where do you see the United States as far as the price of gasoline and the effect that it's going to have overall on the economy, the taxpayer, the American, ultimately, in the next 5 years? 5 years from now, where do you see us?
That's a very interesting question.
Thank you, George. I appreciate it.
Well, I'll answer it. Just to finish up what we said before the break, it's legal to make alcohol. You're able to make alcohol up to 5,000 gallons on a free permit from the federal government. If you want to make more than that, the permit's inexpensive, and it's not hard to get. Now, what I would like to see us be at in the next 5 years is that we have thousands of alcohol plants across the country where people are making fuel in their communities and selling it locally at stations for local use. Because basically, with what's going on with the dollar, what's going on with energy, alcohol, for fuel will essentially be as good or better than money. In other words, you're going to need fuel to get your vehicle to move, to run your generator, even to cook your food. I mean, alcohol can do all of these things, including light your home. So, I think we're going to be in a place where in the not-too-distant future, we're not going to be able to afford to buy oil for things like cars, and we're going to have to produce our own stuff here if we're going to keep any kind of semblance of a decent, civilized life. And, the thing is about doing alcohol ourselves is it has tremendous benefits for localizing our economy, which is really our only salvation in this globalized world that we have now, is if we stop giving our capital away to corporations that basically bleed us dry. So, if we don't go there, what are we going to be looking at? We're going to be looking at, $15 to $25 a gallon gasoline in the next 5 to 10 years. we're going to find, I mean, like I said, we're already halfway there in the rest of the world. We're already at $12 in most of the rest of the world without taxes.
Yeah.
So it's already happening. It's not like, way off in the future, we're going to have peak oil or we're going to have oil shortage and we're going to have high prices. It's already happening. And 5 years is a long time from now. If you think back 5 years here, we were talking about, gasoline down around $2 a gallon.
That was 2 years ago. Yeah, that was less than 2 years ago. I remember that.
Yeah, and back when George Bush first took power, it was down around $1.19. So, 8 years, we've been pretty raped, and the next 5 years is going to be nothing compared to what the last 8 years has been like. So
David,
it's really up to us to do it.
Sure, I'm sorry. I want to take one more phone call because we're almost out of time. Is that hang on one second. Alan in California, are you on the line there on the Animal Farm? What's up?
Yeah, I'm still here.
Okay, Alan, do you have a question for David?
Yeah, on C-SPAN about a year ago, scientists said there's not enough surface area on the Earth to grow enough corn to replace oil directly.
Yeah, you can tell the truth and lie at the same time. So that would be true if you're talking about corn as the energy crop. Corn is a lousy energy crop. It's only 250 gallons per acre. And, if we tried to grow all of our ag land in corn, we would probably just barely cover our energy supply. But it's really inefficient. There's many other crops that we talk about in the book that are 5-10 times as productive as corn to produce fuel, because what we want is carbohydrates. And corn puts most of its energy into growing stalks and not into the grain. And, if you've ever looked at corn, it's a 6-foot-tall plant. Here's these 2 little ears. Well, where did all that solar energy go? It went into the stalks. So when we talk about crops like Jerusalem artichokes or sweet sorghum or even fodder beets, which are like big sugar beets that produce 1,000 gallons or 1,200 gallons an acre compared to corn, we can easily supply the energy we need. And as you heard earlier, we talked about cattails. We can even use ocean kelp, which the American Gas Association estimated that just growing off the California coast, if we grew kelp, which is largely made out of fructose, we could supply about 2/3 of the nation's fuel just from that. And that's not using any land whatsoever. So we have so many ways that we show in the book that we can make alcohol. It's embarrassing that we keep getting talked into scarcity about energy when, the amount of solar energy hitting the earth that we can turn into liquid fuel and turn into natural gas is enormous. So, it's
David,
just the way it is.
David, they're great points. We're running out of time, unfortunately. Could you give people your website, give people your book, tell them how to buy the book, and then we could wrap it up.
Yeah, tell them to promote your website.
Betcha. Yeah, the website is permaculture.com, as in permanent agriculture. And there's a lot of information about alcohol on the site. You can also order the book there. You can also get it locally. And we do encourage people to ask their libraries to order the book because this book is pretty darn large. It's got everything you possibly could ever need in it for making alcohol, to convert your vehicles, to start your business running alcohol. Everything's in it. So, like I say, get it from us, get it from Amazon, get it from your bookstore, and get it from your library. It's out there. But do whatever you do, the next thing you need to do is if alcohol is for sale at the pump where you live, start putting some in your car. You can do that today, little by little, and get up to 50% and stop buying oil.
Excellent. David, thank you very much for coming on the show. It's been a pleasure having you. You're a very, very smart guy, big brain, and I hope people look further into your work.
Great. Thanks a lot, Ben.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thanks, David.
Bye.